Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. There are just so many of these kind of speeches out there that I could have shared with you, so which one could I choose? And so many of them are over 20 minutes long, so many of the good ones. How do you put that down into this assignment? That's tough. So I finally just picked one and condensed it down into its essentials. And I chose Arnold Schwarzenegger's graduating address, or commencement address to the graduating class of 2010 of Emory University in Georgia. It was given during his last year as governor of the state of California. Now, the dean of Emory presented Arnold with an honorary doctorate of law degree, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger presented his speech. Now, I'd like you to ignore the fact that Arnold took a big nosedive probably about the next year or so after that, because I still think it's a great speech. And here is a highly condensed version of that speech. Thank you very much for having me here today. It is an honor to stand before you and receive this honorary Doctor of Law degree. It is my first law degree. And finally, my in-laws, the Kennedys, can consider me successful. Finally, Marie can take me home to meet her parents. Finally. Now, I know that each of you is about to start your next chapter. So I am here today to just tell you my story. And I'm here to inspire you and to pump you up. Of course, I have to say that not everybody here is going to be as hungry as I always was, or as ambitious, or as intense. Let me tell you, if somebody told me something is impossible, I would go out and do it. That's just the way I always was. I was told to my face, you are nothing but a great muzzle. You can't act, you have no future, and you have an accent that is laughable. And that's exactly what my wife Maria said to me on our first date. So we worked our way up slowly until we got married. Now she doesn't say those kinds of things anymore. Anyway, I want to begin by congratulating today's graduates, and that's all of you. The amazing men and women of the Emory University's class of 2010. You are our nation's newest nurses, and doctors, and teachers, and social workers. The list goes on and on. You really are an amazing crowd. Nearly 4,000 men and women who have dedicated themselves to study and to service through environmental action, to social justice, to public health. You represent nearly 50 states and 75 countries. You speak dozens of different languages. As a matter of fact, I was so impressed at how many languages you speak that I decided to spice it up a little bit and deliver the rest of my speech in German. No, I'm just joking. I would not do that to you.
That's funny.
Now, over the last few weeks, I was a bit worried about, and I was wondering what I should be talking about here today. So, of course, I sent my staff out and did a little survey among some of you students. It was interesting when you look at the numbers. 17% said you wanted me to be inspirational. 23% wanted me to just give practical advice. And 30% wanted to have their money back from the movie Jingle All the Way. And get no respect around here. But anyway, the other 30% wanted me to say the following lines, so here we go. Hasta la vista, baby. No, it's not a tumor. It's not a tumor at all. Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentation of their women. I'll be back. So, now we have that out of the way. I just try to satisfy everybody around here. I really wanted to talk to you about my rules of success and about visualizing your dreams, because it is so important to know exactly what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. I mean, the key principles are that brought me incredible success over several years, from bodybuilding to acting to public service to politics. Simply the rules of work like hell and trust yourself. Break some rules. Don't be afraid to fail, and ignore the naysayers and stay hungry. Let me tell you, I've made a fortune in several careers, and I've been very successful in several careers by ignoring the naysayers and believing in myself. Imagine you are 15 years old and you're in Austria, and you say to the people, I want to be the bodybuilding champion of the world. Of course, they come to you and say, wait a minute, this is not an Austrian sport. Skiing, you should be a ski champion, or a soccer champion, or a track and field champion. That's Austrian. But bodybuilding, that's an American sport. But you know something? I had it very clear in my mind that I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a bodybuilding champion. I was so obsessed that I put up posters of bodybuilding champions all over my room. But even my mother misunderstood when she saw pictures of well-oiled, half-naked men. And she started crying when she saw them, because most boys wanted girls. Anyway, I started training 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day, and by the time I was in military service at the age of 18, I trained 4 to 5 hours a day. And I became the youngest Mr. Universe ever, the youngest world champion at the age of 20. Wow. So much for it can't be done. Right after that, because as I said, you have to be hungry, I went after my next goal, which was to come to America. My whole life I wanted to come to America. I came over here with empty pockets, only $20 in my pockets, but full of dreams, full of desire. I had this fire in the belly, and I knew that the United States was where I could really succeed. The possibilities here are endless. I wanted to live the American dream because this is the land of opportunity. I knew that this was where I could continue my bodybuilding career and start acting also, to go into the acting profession. So I immigrated here and I kept training and training hours every day, 5 hours, 6 hours a day, won one world championship after the other. And by the time I was finished with bodybuilding, I won 13 world championships, more than anyone. By then I was hungry to move on because you can't do bodybuilding for the rest of your life. I wanted to move on, and I knew that it was acting that I wanted to get into. But again, I faced the same obstacles where people said it can't be done. When I talked to agents, they said to me, you cannot become just an act and walk into the movies. But I said, I do not want to be just an actor, I want to be a leading man. And they said, forget about that. And they laughed, and they did not even try to use a euphemism. And they said, with your accent, no one has become a leading man with your accent. And with your body, look at all those bumps sticking out. This overdeveloped body, they were in 20 years ago when they did Hercules movies, but the movies that you say inspired you, but now it's Dustin Hoffman, it's Al Pacino, and it's Woody Allen. Those are the sex symbols these days. Don't you understand? Look at you. Forget it. It will never happen. And with your name, Schwarzenschnitzel, or whatever your name is, I can see that already up there on the billboards. That's not going to sell any movies. But you know something? I didn't listen to them. I started working very hard, just like in bodybuilding, 5, 6 hours a day. I went to acting classes and speech classes and dialogue classes and accent removal classes. Everything you can think of, I did. And slowly everything started happening. All those liabilities, all those things they talked about started turning into assets. When they did Conan the Barbarian, the director came to me and he said, if we wouldn't have you, we would have had to build one. And on Terminator, the director said, I couldn't imagine having anyone play Terminator and they wouldn't have an accent and they wouldn't have your body. I cannot imagine the line, I'll be back, with a normal American accent. It works so perfectly that you have this German accent. So all of those things that they said are liabilities became an asset. And I grew and I grew and I went from one movie to the next and I made more and more money and I ended up being the highest paid actor, $30 million on Terminator 3. That just shows you again, so much for it can't be done. This is what I tried to tell you. Anything and everything can be done if you visualize it. If you just believe in yourself. It was the same thing again when I ran for governor. You can imagine when I went on the Tonight Show and announced that I was going to run for governor of the great state of California. People came up to me afterward and said, "You're crazy. You don't announce something like this on the Tonight Show. You have an official press conference at the state capitol. Plus, you don't start with governorship. You start first with mayor or state senator. And I said, I don't want to be senator. I don't want to be mayor. I want to be governor. Well, the rest is history. And I won in 2003, and I also won in 2006. And let me tell you, you're going to find the naysayers in every turn that you make. Don't listen. Just visualize your goal, know exactly where you want to go, and trust yourself. Get out there and work like hell, and break some of the rules, and never, ever be afraid of failure. Now, Schwarzenegger had a lot more to say about how service is a much greater indicator of success than making a lot of money or becoming famous, but I don't have time for that, so I'll just have to let you watch the YouTube version. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.